So, good morning or good night, depending on where you are, and welcome to another interview of the Shield Dude in the Couch. I'm your host, Hector, and today we're gonna be talking to the Louisiana band 99 Summers, and we have three uh, of the people that are in the band. So they're a band from Louisiana, and they play a genre that they're calling Voodoo Metal. So we have to go further into what Voodoo Metal is. So first of all, guys, how are you tonight?
Oh, doing
Good.
pretty good.
Doing great,
Nice.
Hector.
So awesome. So introduce yourselves. Who's here and what do you do in the band?
I'm Big L. I do vocals as well as play rhythm guitar.
Nice. And the mask is pretty cool. Like you always wear the mask when you're playing, right?
It depends on the song, but the Big L stands for Big Liberties, so it's give me liberty or give me death. So that's what the mask represents.
Okay, nice. So the other people who are here in the call, what do you guys do in the band?
Hunter, I'll go first. That's all right.
Yeah.
I'm Joshua. I'm the drummer, and on occasion when we need someone who sounds like a 12-year-old to sing background vocals, I do that as well. On rare occasion, I'll help around here or there on bass or on guitar, but primarily drums. And talking about the mask question, I believe for live shows we intend to wear the masks pretty much all the time on stage, unless somebody wants to correct me on that.
Yeah, nice.
Right.
So yeah, the mask on stage should look cool. So 99 Summers, like how can you describe the sound of the band for people that don't know the band?
Well, it's interesting because of the fact that when we started releasing our singles, pretty much the messaging that we were getting from other folks were refreshing, and we think he might have created a new subgenre. And we were like, well, that's pretty cool. And we didn't want to name it ourselves. So we kind of put some messaging out to some of the followers and said, give us a name for what you think this subgenre should be called. And out of hundreds upon hundreds of people shooting ideas to us, we had someone who said, well, you're from Louisiana, why not call it Voodoo Metal? And we kind of talked about it and we're like, wow, that actually works really well, especially considering we have an upcoming single called Voodoo. So it kind of worked out perfectly. And from there, it was kind of, well, I guess we're the fathers of Voodoo Metal.
Man, I got
Nice.
a story about Voodoo Metal. Back whenever I was in high school, I helped someone with the senior project, and the guy that was working our music in the studio had texted me one day before we went to do the work, and he was just like, why is Voodoo Metal not a thing, and why aren't you guys making it yet? And I gotta find the screenshot of that because I saved it, and that was from years ago. And it's like full circle comes back around, like we're making this music, and people are starting to call it Voodoo Metal, and it's just like it's kind of cool, you know. Now I'm making Voodoo Metal. I gotta tell that guy that.
So what are the elements of Voodoo Metal? Because if it's a new genre, I gotta know what would make something Voodoo Metal.
I would think from the drum aspect, obviously the heavy metal, death metal, black metal influence, but with a touch of blues and well, it's all already in heavy metal, but uh, uh, a friendly helping of jazz influence as far as drum goes.
Mhm.
It's a big part of New Orleans culture, and all three of us grew up within close proximity to New Orleans, and all having spent some time there. I feel like it's been an impact on all of our lives, but for me, I would say jazz influence as well as the metal.
And I would say, too, a lot of metal that's out there right now, if you follow the drums, it's a lot of drive. You got a lot of galloping on the drums continuously, whereas our riffs kind of have more of a hypnotic bounce to it. It has more of a flow. Uh, there's breakups in it that it's different. You know, uh, it's hard to kind of pigeonhole us one way or the other because some people said, hey, you guys sound a little bit like System of a Down. And then just recently I had a guy at the radio station say, you guys remind me of Stuck Mojo. And then we've had other people say, you sound like Seven Dust. I said, well, you know what? We don't sound like anybody if we sound like all of those different people because they have nothing in common with one another. So obviously it's a new sound.
Yeah, well, listening to the Wake the Dead single, I could there was a tinge of like a new metal influence, if you will, to the music, but with something different. So, but I got some new metal vibes from it a little bit. So, I know you've released a few singles now. So, are you working on like a full length, or are you just like releasing singles and maybe EPs right now?
Pretty much singles right now. Uh, from what we've learned, and I've kind of been in around the music industry for quite some time in different genres. And in this day and age, unless you're really established in like Slipknot or Mudvayne, where you've got millions of followers already established, if you put out an album with the attention span that a lot of the young generation has right now, you release 12 songs and have a relevancy standpoint, it's kind of better to just drop 1, 2 singles a month. And as soon as you feel like, hey, they're forgetting about you, you hit them with something new and you kind of keep them interested in the group the entire time. So, we've got tons of material in the pipeline right now. We've got 7 singles released. We have our 8th single coming out next week called Dracula X. And then we've got 4 or 5 other singles that are in the pipeline right behind it. So right now we're kind of focusing on singles and maybe some EPs.
Okay, so you're releasing like singles like every how many, like every like 1 month or 2 months? How are you releasing the singles?
Right now we're releasing 1 to 2 singles every month.
Every month. Okay, nice. So will those singles like come out, like will they be like they be together like on an EP, or they will be all standalone singles?
Eventually, what we'd like to do is build them into EPs. We kind of wanted to approach things differently. You got a lot of bands that are upcoming. They go and they play covers, and then after they get a following from doing covers, they try to introduce their own music, and it becomes very difficult because they get kind of stuck as being a cover band. So we wanted to approach it differently. It was, you know what? Let's do the studio band thing for a while. Let's put our music out there,
that they did.
and then let's get a feel for the pulse of what people want to hear out of the selections of musics and the originals that we have, and then kind of build from there. And the reception we had has been greater than we ever expected.
Okay, yeah, nice. And so you're releasing a new single, Dracula X, next week. What can we expect in the sound in Dracula X?
It's kind of interesting. Dracula X originally was kind of organically created. It was a riff that our lead guitarist Bruce had come up with, and he was messing around with it, and someone walked by and heard it, and they're like, "Man, that's really good. What is that?" And we're like, "I don't know. We're just messing around, but we'll come up with something." And I kind of listened to it, and I said, it kind of reminds me of Castlevania, the old video game on the Super Nintendo, kind of that riff. And I thought about it, and I was like, well, what would it be if Dracula was a gangster in the hood? And we kind of mixed some hip hop influence with the metal and kind of did a horror gangster type mishmash of that, and that's kind of what ended up with it. It's kind of like an ode to horror movies and mixing it into a modern age.
Nice. Yeah. Well, if I think of like a Dracula, like if he was in the hood or something, I would think of the Count from Sesame Street. Because if you think he was a pimp, right? It's like 1, 2, bring me my money. Yeah.
But
So so yeah, that's cool, and you're releasing singles. Spoken to a lot of bands that say like, right now it's the best thing to do, like release singles, and once you have more following, then you think about like an album or EP, because yeah, the attention span of the generation now, it's all TikToks. So
Yeah.
that's it.
it's like people don't consume like long albums. Like they're like, give me something quick, and then they want something else more. Uh so Corey, uh so let's talk about influences of you guys. I see that Big L, you have that Slipknot album, the first one right here on I see it on the back. That's a great album. But you guys growing up, like, and I can go through each member, like which were your like musical influences growing up?
Uh,
Oh, well, go ahead, Carl.
okay, I'll take it first. So, growing up, unfortunately, for a long period of time, my influences were distributed to me by my older brother. So my scope was small. So growing up at first, I would say I listened to a lot of Van Halen, Ain't Talking About Love, Eruption, that kind of stuff, and really becoming interested in guitar and drums. Uh, my bigger drum influences early in life were uh, Sum 41. They have the song 88 or the song The Bitter End, some of their heavier stuff.
Yeah,
As
from
I've
Chuck.
Yeah, exactly. That was a great album. But as I've gotten older, I've started to get into more of the polyrhythms and uh, some of the more new wave drummers, such as Lewis Coleman. Sorry, Lewis Cole. I'm drunk. JD Beck uh, and Anderson .Paak. Anderson .Paak doesn't do anything extravagant when he plays drums, but it's the flow that he has when he does play. It's almost like singing the way he plays the drums, and the way that Lewis Cole plays the drums is he plays it like a lead instrument, just accenting around the melody, or uh, around the backing rhythm. He plays it like the lead, and that's sort of a big adoption that I've had, and I've sort of incorporated into my own playing for the past couple of years. Lewis Cole's the big
one. Nice. What about you, Big L?
I go back to Pantera, was a big influence for me early on. Metallica. Uh, then I kind of went through the grunge phase, Soundgarden, Nirvana. But then I really had a kind of resurgence because I bounced back with hip hop. I was a follower of Wu-Tang Clan. Here in Louisiana, we had No Limit with Master P. And then I kind of, once 2000 hit, man, and Slipknot came out, Mudvayne, I was kind of all over the place, some alternative with Evans Blue, a lot of Oddballs Clutch, Acid Bath. It's pretty eclectic in terms of my different influences. As far as my writing went, I was a big Corey Taylor fan. Vermilion Part 2 had some of the most amazing visual lyrics that, I had ever heard, and I was just drawn into that. And then around 06, I got introduced to Five Finger Death Punch and, Yvonne Moody, who was another really good lyricist, that was really focused on trying to tell a real story in the lyrics. And those became big influences for me for writing.
Okay.
Especially, I went through a rough patch at one point in time, and music and the writing and kind of taking, you know, parts of my life right there and putting it into the music was real therapeutic. So you hear it in the lyrics in a lot of the songs. You know, I had my own run-in with the government at one point in time, so that's kind of where War Machine was birthed out of. And so those are pretty much my influences.
It's funny you say that. You
Nice.
just like Kurt Cobain. 1 for 1.
So what? So what about you? The last I just see iPhone, so I can see the name. I'm like
Hunter.
Hunter. What were your influences growing up? I think Hunter, we lost him. It seems like he has no. He's mute. We'll
I'm
reach
sorry.
back to.
Yeah. My influences growing up, I listened to a lot of like early rock, like from the '60s and '70s. I like the Beatles, Led Zeppelin, Pink Floyd, and uh, it was a lot of music from that era for a while. And whenever I started playing music live with some friends, we got into some of the '90s stuff, like grunge, like Alice in Chains and Soundgarden, Nirvana, Pearl Jam, Stone Temple Pilots, and here recently I've been on a big audio slave kick, and like Cornell's vocals just, I don't know, they're really impressive to me, and I really enjoy kind of singing along to some of that because I feel like my voice kind of complemented like a lot of the grunge era music and everything. And whenever I was playing back in high school, my friends thought so as well. We played some Smashing Pumpkins and like Stone Temple Pilots, Alice in Chains, and stuff like that. And they were like, "Man, your voice is kind of like on point with like a lot of these artists and everything like that." And we threw some Zeppelin in there and Tool and just the stuff like that, some prog rock and everything. And um, I'm sorry, I'm at work as well, so I'm trying to like balance between that. But
Nice. I thought you were like ordering something at one
oh no,
point.
I'm sorry. I kind of tried to sneak away to my car so I could join this interview, but one of the workers came to talk to me for a second and let me know what was going on. But
That's okay,
those are
man.
some of my big influences. We played Sabbath, you know, like Iron Maiden. Um, a lot of. We started getting heavier back in the day, and I started getting influence more with like some of the heavier vocals and like heavier rock and stuff like that. And yeah, it's just been
Nice.
it's been
And I noticed that in some of the songs, there's some. Are there two people singing? Because I've heard like more like of a clean singing with the harsher part. Who sings all the parts in the single so far? Because I know Big Al is one of the singers, but I heard another voice in some of the singles I heard.
That would be Hunter.
it would be me.
Yeah, because I heard like the more like he was talking about like the more alternative like type of vocals, so I heard them. So I see that you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 singles so far released, the last being Wake the Dead. Out of the all the singles that you released so far, which one is your favorite and why?
I want to take this one.
Jeez.
My favorite thus far is Dark Obsession. And the reason for this, as a drummer, if you listen to the drums, I do a lot of swaying back and forth between the hi-hat and the ride. And then there's a breakdown late in the song where I incorporate this circus type of beat where it's just really off, and it makes it very, very fun to play. The issue with our music is if you were to listen to every single back to back to back, you might notice that most of the time we're all going hard the entire time. So trying to play them back to back to back is a bit of a challenge. But I think one of the ones where we all really get loud and really go hard is Dark Obsession.
Nice. What about you, Miguel?
I like War Machine. Just because it's interesting. I wrote those lyrics back in 2011,
Oh,
and
wow.
it seems like they're just as relevant today, if not more, than they were with the mood that I had back then. I really like Dark Obsession. Uh, it's interesting because that song came about with me in a relationship that had gone bad, and I was trying to actually write a letter to make up for my part in the breakup. And the other individual was basically like, I hope you die. So I crumpled up the letter that I was going to send out and threw it on the floor. And that night I kind of woke up, I saw it, and the thought came to mind, and it became the lyrics. I took out a pad and I wrote, I'd do anything to tear you from these crumpled pages. I'd give anything to wipe you from my dreams. Someone catch me when I'm falling to an endless bottom, because no one hears the screams, no one hears my screams. And that entire song was basically built off of everything I wanted to tell that individual. You know, after switching modes from what I was going to write in the letter to how I felt after they had kind of really twisted the knife in my back at that point. So it has a lot of meaning for me in there. I really like Melancholy as well. Melancholy is really neat. It's kind of a departure away from some of the other things that we were doing. And it's Melancholy was kind of cool because we actually recorded in a studio with a world famous keyboardist named Steve Smith. and and we were like, man, there's just something missing from this song. And I was like, it'd be really nice if we had some keys. So Steve, who engineers our music, goes, well, let me see what I can do. And he gets over on the synthesizer and he switches it over to like this strings on this orchestra, and he starts really doing this really eerie, moody kind of movement with the melody on the keys. And I was like, that's it. Like, wow, man, like it had so much emotion and so much feel that was added by those strings and that effect from that synthesizer. And I was like, well, I definitely know why Steve is world famous at this point.
Nice. And so you guys have the singles now, and you still haven't played a show. Did I get that right? Correct?
That's correct. We released the singles. We shot our first music video, which was released as War Machine. We're in the process right now of getting ready to shoot a video for Dark Obsession. We've recently been in contact with some of the college radio and things like that, and they're really interested. They're about to put us in rotation on the radio,
Nice.
and we're transitioning now to.
So you're transitioning now to see how
start
it would.
performing live shows where we kind of built our. Well, right now we were basically just performing as a studio band the way we were releasing the music, and you know performances are different. You know, we've all performed in other bands before, so we're all pretty experienced musicians. But now it's kind of been a point of choreographing things together and meshing, playing and seeing where we're going to be, where we're going to stand, that we're not walking on anybody's wires, and kind of just seeing where we're going to go with the lights for light show and everything like that. So there's a lot of pre-planning that's going on. I have a list of venues that I could unroll like a Roman scroll right now of places that have asked us to go and perform for them. So it's not it's not due to a lack of possible playing. We've even got some venues in Germany that have actually contacted us and was like, please come overseas and
Yeah, that's expensive.
come perform over here. So we've got some shows coming up. We're planning on starting right at the beginning, probably around January, February. We'll start getting some live performances. We've got some other bands that want to open for us, like Accelerator, who's another local Louisiana band that's doing really phenomenal right now. They're doing some really good things with thrash.
Their drummer, man.
Yeah, they've got a really good drummer. Their vocalist is really good. The guitars, they're solid as well. So everybody get ready. We're coming.
Nice. So what is there a story behind the name 99 Summers?
Interestingly enough, it's 99 summers because you're lucky if you live that long.
Mm-hmm.
And
Is that a JC references?
it was kind of a catchy thing.
It's funny you say that. I was listening to Nas yesterday or 2 days ago. I love Nas, probably, definitely, in my opinion, best rapper to ever exist. And I was listening to a best of Nas mix, and I heard him reference 99 Summers. Can't remember exactly what he said off the top of my head, but it seems that you just said JC, and I heard Nas.
Yeah, because I remember 99 Problems, but a bitch ain't one.
That's right.
Sorry.
But yeah, so yeah, I was wondering if there was a story behind it, behind the name of the band.
The funny thing was, the first iteration of this band was actually almost 12 years ago, and it was in prison. And the band was called Murder of Crows. And by the time we got out, it was the issue of someone had already taken the name Murder of Crows. So we were just walking around one day, and I was like, man, we got to come up with something new. And, you know, I want to say I was reading Game of Thrones, and they said something along the lines of, it's been 99 winters, you're lucky if you live that long. And I said, well, you know what? It'd be 99 summers, and you're lucky if you live that long as well. And it kind of burst out of that.
Nice, yeah. And yeah, I can listening to the singles, I can tell that there's like different types of genres, like new metal, there's some hip hop influences all mashed together, and the jazz, and you guys being from Louisiana. So people, you can listen to the singles, they're all on Spotify. Are you on Bandcamp as well, right?
We actually use TuneCore.
I've never heard of
distribute
that.
through TuneCore.
Oh, I never heard that. That's
Tune-
I never heard of that one. That's new.
TuneCore is actually the biggest one out of all of them.
Oh, really?
Jay-Z, yes, Jay-Z and some other major artists also distribute using TuneCore. They're a little more costly to distribute through, but I find that they're connected with everybody. You know, when we distribute them, they handle the UPC, the ISRC encodings, and we're on Apple Music, Pandora, YouTube, TikTok, Spotify, YT Music. I mean, Shazam, stuff in Japanese and in Czechoslovakian and all kinds of other places that we have no idea what it's going to, but they do a really good job of distributing.
Nice.
But you pretty much got Bandcamp, DistroKid, and then TuneCore.
Okay, yeah, I haven't heard about TuneCore, so this is the first time I hear that. So guys, it's been nice chatting to you about the band and about the upcoming single. So you have the Dracula X, and then you have the Voodoo single that you were mentioning, right?
Yes, we have Dracula X that's going to be followed with Voodoo, and then we have another single called Happens in a Blink, where we have a rapper out of Dallas named SBET that actually collaborated with us on that one. So Happens in a Blink is going to be really interesting and really neat as well. Shout out to SBET in Dallas.
Nice. And we can expect them like in the coming weeks, every like every month, like 2 singles should be releasing. So we'll get this those singles before the year ends, probably, right?
Absolutely.
Nice.
Absolutely.
Well, anything you guys would like to say to people who are watching this video, and to get to, anything, to the fans or people that don't know 99 Summers?
I'd like to say something. I'm really glad to be a part of this whole project and everything. And anyone who's listening and is enjoying the music and everything, I hope it speaks out to you guys, and I hope y'all are really enjoying what we're doing, because I'm having a lot of fun with this, and I'm glad to be a part of this project.
Nice. Thanks, Hunter. What about Big L, and what do you guys would like to say to the fans or the people?
So I would say, do what the fuck you want to do. Just listen to our music while you're doing it.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Legal stuff, please. Well,
yes. Yeah. Do whatever you want to do that is legal while listening to our music.
I don't know,
Nice.
man. Stick it to the man. Listen to us while you're sticking it to the man.
Yeah,
That works too.
yeah.
As long as you're clicking, as long as you're streaming, we're gonna be here because we enjoy doing what we do, and we couldn't be here doing it without the followers, the fans, and the support that we've had along the way. And expect big things from us, man. We're not going anywhere, and we've got a lot of stuff in the pipeline that I think folks are going to enjoy. So just keep listening, keep clicking, man, and we'll be one big happy condemned family.
Nice. So I'll put the link so people can go and check out the bands, check out the singles, and best of luck to you guys with the upcoming singles, and hopefully more people can get into the band, and it should be interesting seeing you guys live, because with the masking, I don't know, I think it's gonna be an interesting blend of music, because every single has like something different. So yeah, I found that interesting. So people, 99 Summers, a new band, check them out. Stream their songs. Wake the Dead is the last one, but they have a new one coming up soon, so be on the lookout for that. So until next time, people, this is Hector, the Shield on a Couch, and I'll see you all right here on the couch. Thank you and good night.